I am a 21-year-old female and have fallen in love with my arranged marriage husband, who is a 28-year-old male, who doesn't love me back and sleeps with other women because I let him. How do I get a happy marriage now? My husband's marriage was an arranged one between our parents. I was 16, and he was 23 when they forced us together. I don't want to get into the ethics of this because I know it's bad. And even though it's their culture, their views are cruel and incredibly sexist. Luckily, my husband was a good man and compared to most of my friends, my marriage was peaceful. He never hit me or treated me like a slave, and I'm so grateful to be married to him instead of anyone else. Our first year was incredibly painful because both our parents demanded grandchildren and neither of us was strong enough to resist them. Luckily, we only had to have special cuddles about 5 times for me to get pregnant with twins, and I thoroughly hated it so much that after we got the positive result, he promised never to touch me again, something that most men wouldn't have done. It was so painful for me that I was crying every time. I don't blame him too much for the bad experience because we were both virgins, but that week was enough for me to never want special cuddles again. After my sons were born in a thankfully easy birth, we stayed in our country until I was 18 before he got a job in Canada, something we have been after since our marriage. He's a doctor and a really good one. We left our family and moved here, and we were finally free, and neither of us wants to go back. Me for obvious reasons, and him because he's 5th of 11 siblings and his entire family is horrible. Like my parents, he offered me a divorce if I wanted, so I could have a new life, but I have no education, so I cannot work and I have 2 sons that need their father, so even though I didn't love him, I stayed and told him as much. We became more like friends, and our marriage only existed on paper. But he was never bad to me. He gave me money to spend and would buy me things, and I would cook him his favorite food and keep the house nice for him, and do all the chores. Our children never knew that their parents didn't love each other because we were always nice to each other. And when we got here, I asked him if I could get an education, so he enrolled me in a local university to study business. I'm almost done now, so I can start working and actually do something besides go crazy in my house. My son started daycare after we came here so that they would learn English. And I started to get really bored, so I downloaded a bunch of apps on my phone, because he bought me a brand new iPhone, and that's how I found Reddit, which I have been using to practice my casual English. I'm using a throwaway account because I don't want my actual account to get attention because of this post. After a few months here, he sat me down and told me that he had urges that only a woman could fill, but he didn't want to hurt me and wouldn't force me to do anything. He asked for my permission to have sex with other women, and I said yes, as long as he hid it from other people and our kids. I don't care what he did. He would go out every Friday and come back happy, and I was just happy that he was satisfied. I didn't love him, but I cared for him like I would a friend. When COVID-19 started in mid-2020, I got very sick early. He pulled a lot of strings so I could get the best care in the hospital he worked at. I was useless for almost a month and a half, and he was amazing. He looked after my needs, kept my sons happy, and worked at the same time. What sparked my love was something he did when I was in really bad pain. I was at home then, but I still couldn't really do anything without getting out of breath. It was nighttime and he was helping me get into bed, but I was struggling for some reason and my entire body was painful. I was trying really hard not to cry and he noticed. He picked me up, sat down on the bed and laid my head on his lap. He started to stroke my hair while singing to me until I fell asleep, and when I woke up, he had fallen asleep in that position because I was sleeping on him. I didn't want to wake him, so I covered him with a blanket and hugged him until he woke up an hour later. He was so tender with me when I was sick that I fell in love. And even after I was cured, he was still so kind to me. When I'm grumpy, he makes me coffee. When I'm sad, he hugs me. And he does so many other things that show that he cares about me. When I went through a period after my sickness where I thought I was ugly, he started to tell me I was beautiful several times during the day, something he still does. I started to work out with him last summer, and I know it seems a bit boastful, but I think I'm really attractive now. Men started to flirt with me, and even though I would never stray, he is always so protective of me. It just makes me love him more. And he's so good to our sons too, so patient and helpful. Even though it's not his duty, I don't remember a single conversation I had with my father where he didn't yell at me. But when my husband talks to my sons, he is so gentle and kind, but he doesn't love me. I was touching him a lot more, and he started to hug me before work, and after I asked, he even started to sleep in the same bed and cuddle me. He rests his head on my chest and I pet his hair until he falls asleep. And even the way he breathes on me is just perfect. I don't know how to describe it, but I think he looks the most attractive while asleep in my arms. COVID was the best thing that ever happened to me because I fell in love with my husband. But after the lockdown ended, he started to go out every Friday again, and every time he leaves after our children go to sleep, my heart would hurt. I hate that he sleeps with other women, even though it's my fault, and I know that he would stop if I asked. But it would be selfish of me to deny his urges when I can't satisfy him. He even asked me after lockdown ended if I was okay with him still going out, and I wanted to say no. But I said yes and then ended up crying myself to sleep while holding his shirt that Friday night. A few weeks ago, I followed him and watched him go out for dinner with a beautiful blonde woman. They were flirting so much, and they had special cuddles in his car while I spied on them. We have 3 cars, and he uses that one only for his dates, so that me and my sons will never notice anything. Then they went to a cheap hotel with her for 3 hours. They were on the first floor with the window open, and I watched them do so many things, in so many positions that I felt dirty for spying. But I was also so jealous of that woman. He texted me that he was coming home, something he always does even though I'm usually asleep. I drove back home before he came out and made him a snack. He was surprised that I was awake and asked if I was waiting for him. And I asked him how it was. He was uncomfortable talking about it, but I just wanted to know more, so he told me everything. Her name, that he tries to hire her at least once a month, what they do, and so much more. He calls a company and he hires a girl from them every weekend. He tries to get the blonde because she's his favorite because she never says no to anything he asks. I want him to do all those dirty things to me, but at the same time I remember how much it hurt, and I don't want to do it. If I tell him that I love him, I know that he would stop going out, and he won't be as happy. And I also don't know how to have sex because the last time I did it was when I was 16. He won't enjoy it with me because I can't do the things I saw the other woman do. But watching him enjoy other women from the side because I gave him permission stabs my heart every time he goes out. How do I tell him that I love him without hurting myself or making him less happy? Told I fell in love with my husband, who I am in an arranged marriage with, except I hate special cuddles and gave him permission to sleep with other women. Now I don't know how to tell him I want him to stop. This story legit sounds like a movie. If a director sees this story, please turn it into a movie. OP, your husband sounds like an amazing person. I say tell him how you feel. Better yet, do it on a rainy night as you run into his arms. Do a whole monologue as well, asking him to teach you how to make love and blah blah blah. I think this will look really good on the big screen. I hope there's an update. I, a 27-year-old male, told my girlfriend, a 27-year-old female, that I was having special cuddles before meeting her and she got angry. In SFW, we are meeting since November last year. Everything was going smoothly. Last evening we were discussing our previous relationships. She told me about the guys she was with. I assumed she was having special cuddles with them, but now I'm not sure, and I told her that about my previous girlfriends. When she learned that last year, before I even knew her, I was meeting with another girl from our postgraduate school and I had sex with her, she got mad. She told me that it's disgusting, that now everyone in our school will now think that she's just another girl for me to have special cuddles with. I tried to explain that nobody knew about me and that girl. Last year we had only remote lessons, that it was nothing serious. We had special cuddles once, and stopped meeting after 6 months, and that was before I even met my girlfriend. She told me to leave her place. I tried to write to her the next morning, but she just said that she doesn't care about it. She told me it's nothing and that she's not mad. I'm exaggerating, but she doesn't speak to me. What should I do? I love her and I wanted to be completely honest with her. Now I wish I lied to her. I don't think special cuddles is the problem, but special cuddles with this girl, and that people may think that I want to just use her. We didn't have special cuddles yet because I didn't want to speed things. Sorry for any mistakes. English is not my first language. OP. I don't know what to tell you, man. You are right. It does seem like your girl is mad that you had special cuddles with this one girl in particular. She says it's because everyone will think you are using her for special cuddles, which doesn't really seem like the case. I don't know, man. I don't want to tell you what to do, but if she is refusing to communicate with you effectively when you are trying to fix things, then maybe you should consider other options. To clarify, I am not saying dump her or stay with her. I am, in fact, saying nothing at all. That's all for today, guys. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, press like and subscribe. If you don't press like, then you hate your mom. Also, here's a video I found with a bunch of tulips. Enjoy.